Hello, my wonderful fifth graders. Welcome back to week 4 of remote learning. I'm so excited that you're here and you're looking at this video. This week we are learning something very similar to what we were learning last week, and that is dividing decimals. And I know you hear dividing decimals and that kind of sounds a little scary, but I promise you that we're going to make this as easy as possible and you're going to feel successful and like you can do this. And it's actually quite easy if we draw pictures and we find strategies to help us get to the answer. Okay, so we're going to start off by thinking about this problem, 6 and 1/2. 6 divided by 1/2. Let's think about this problem and what we know about division. So let's think about what 6 and 1/2 would mean, okay? When we understand problems, it really helps us to focus on what it is that the problem is asking us to do. And sometimes we can do that by thinking about problems that are very similar to this, okay? So we're actually going to think about 6 divided by 2 because when I use whole numbers, it can help me figure this out, okay? Everyone knows what 6 divided by 2 is, and that's 3. So let's think about it in a story problem. So let's think Talisha is making cakes for field day. She has 6 cups of flour and needs 2 cups to make 1 cake. How many cakes can she make? So let's draw that out so that can help us. So she has 6 cups of flour, right? So I'm going to draw those 6 different little cups of flours. I have 5, I have 6. Okay, so now I have 6 cups of flours and she needs 2 cups to make 1 cake. So every 2 cups gives me 1 cake. And we're going to figure out by drawing a picture how many cakes I will be able to make. So if every cake takes 2 cups, that means that the first 2 cups is one group, the second 2 cups is the second group, and the last 2 cups are the 3 groups, okay? One way we can think about division is to think about how many 2's are in 6. And remember, we can also write division problems as a missing factor problem. So we could think about 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 as what times 2 equals 6, okay? Do you see how many 2's are in 6 in the drawing? How does it show? Well, we put 3 times 2 equals 6. So let's go back to our 6 and 1/2. Let's go back to this problem because this was our original problem. If we want to solve 6 divided by 1/2, we can think about it as how many halves are in 6, or what times 1/2 equals 6. So I'm going to write that for us as a missing factor problem. What times 1/2 equals 6? Okay. If we use the cooking context, we could think about how Talisha is making these cupcakes, okay? Talisha has 6 cups of flour and needs 1/2 cup to make 1 muffin. How many muffins can she make? So we can do that again by drawing a representation. So I'm going to draw a representation for us. So she has 6 cups, right? The story problem is telling us that she has 6 cups. So I'm going to draw those. And it says that she needs 1/2 cup to make 1 muffin. So let's draw that out. So every single time that I have 1/2, that gives me 1 muffin. So with 1 cup, that gives me 2, right? I continue, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 6 divided by 1/2 is equal to 12. How would we write this as a multiplication problem? We would write it as 12 times 1/2 equals 6. Okay, where do we see those numbers in the drawing? Well, the 6, I see that I have 6 different cups of flour. The half, I see it getting broken down into the halves, and it's getting broken down into those pieces because it says that each muffin only needs half a cup, right? So then I continue there, and my 12 is how many of those muffin pieces I'm getting, right? So having that problem 6 divided by 2 gives us 3 can really help us because I know that if I group the 6 into groups of 2, then that gives me 3. But here I'm grouping my 6 into groups of half, right? So I'm breaking up my whole numbers and doing it into halves. That gives me more pieces. Okay, here we have another problem, okay? And this is us dividing a whole number by a fraction. And we're going to talk about page 460, number 3, okay? And it says Tyler has 3 yards of ribbon. He needs 1/6 yard to make 1 bow. How many bows can he make? So here I want to start by writing my equation. Okay, he has 3 of something, right? He has 3 yards of ribbon, and he wants to divide them into sixths. Okay, so 1/6 to make blank amount of bows. So the way that I can start this is by drawing myself a grid. And I'm going to make 3 grids. And I want them to look pretty similar. Okay, so I have my three grids, and I need to break them into how many pieces. Okay, where can I find how many pieces I need to break it up into? The denominator, of course, because the denominator tells us how many pieces in our whole, and our numerator tells us how many it takes. So it only takes 1/6 to make my my bow, right? So I want to break this up into 6 pieces. Okay, so now I want to find out how many bows can he make. So I know that each bow is the equivalent of 1/6, right? And I can see that 1/6 gives me 1 bow. So now I can begin to count how many bows I can make. On the first one, I make 1. I make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I continue on to the next one, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I have 18 bows. And I can also write this fraction as what times 1/6 gives me 3, right? And 18. And like we learned last week, we learned how to multiply that. So how would I multiply that? I would put this over 1, right? And then multiply my numerators. 18 times 1 gives me 18. 1 times 6 equals 6. And now I divide it. 6 goes into 18 how many times? Well, if I count by multiples of 6, I get 6, 12, 18. So that's 3 multiples, and that gives me 3, okay? So for our next couple problems, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be taking your division problem and figuring out how many pieces you're going to break your holes into and draw a picture similar to this, okay? That's going to help you decide what your answer is, okay?